Jesus revealed to a chosen few a technical secret that changes everything you feel about yourself. You are not just this tired, hungry, anxious body. If you have ever felt like an exile in your own life, haunted by a nostalgia you can't name, or attacked by self-sabotage just when you were about to grow, that is a signal. This teaching explains those sensations as the everyday evidence of an invisible structure around you, a tunic of light that can be turned on, and once activated, it rewrites how your life is lived and how your death is navigated. That knowledge survived in texts like the Pistis Sophia, documents the Church later erased, edited, and burned. Those removals were not clerical accidents, they were deliberate. The passages that taught how to awaken this vehicle were cut because when people learn to operate outside the authority of priests and sacraments, the power of those hierarchies collapses. That matters to you now because what was suppressed is not abstract doctrine, it is a practical technology you can reclaim. The core revelation is blunt. The body of light is real and operational, not a metaphor for being spiritual. The ancients called it the somapne pneumaticon, a light body that interpenetrates your flesh and can be ignited, so your consciousness runs at a frequency the archons cannot touch. Once you understand this, the petty patterns that have stalked you for years, the inner saboteur, the compulsions, the fear that resets your progress, stop being moral failures and become solvable mechanics. This changes your relationship to fear, authority, and your own future. You are not helplessly recycled by the system unless you remain asleep. Listen carefully, because this is urgent. The way out was taught as a step-by-step operation, breath by breath, and word by word, and the first move is not a mantra, but an act of brutal discernment. You must separate your true observing self from the voice that insists you are only the body. You must name the intruder and refuse to feed it. First, sit with your spine straight, find the gap between thought and awareness, and declare, in your mind, that the criticizing voice is not you. That split is the hinge you will use to turn on the light. You have felt the pressure of living in a world that insists on smallness, the parasitic pressure that keeps the chest tight and the mind restless. In Pistis Sophia, an explicit teaching names a field that surrounds and permeates your flesh, the tunic of light, a measurable energetic architecture anchored to a monadic source. This is not fanciful language but a description of a vessel that can be trained. Your first task is to recognize interference patterns and acknowledge the existence of a frequency shield around you. Think of the tunic of light as a layered matrix whose nodes align with your vital breath and monadic anchor. Each node is a point of luminous tension that supports movement beyond purely material demands. When those nodes are flat or blocked by parasitic pressure, your experience is narrowed. Fear increases, options shrink. The teaching gives practical cues to locate each node by sensing subtle shifts in temperature, pressure, and inner resonance. Learning to map that matrix inside your vessel is the practical beginning of reclaiming sovereignty. Begin with regulation of the vital breath. Slow inhales of 4 counts, hold briefly, and long controlled exhales that clear parasitic pressure. With each cycle, draw attention along the central channel, from the base of the vessel to the crown, where the monadic anchor rests. Do not chase sensations. Register changes in tone and density as nodes awaken. As nodes respond, project intention outward to thicken your frequency shield. These repeated cycles create patterned resonance, aligning the tunic's layers so the body becomes more permeable to luminous influence. Expect resistance. Historical structures invested in keeping people tethered to material narratives generate interference that targets the tunic's weak points. Symptoms include fragmented attention, sudden dips in vitality, and external narratives that magnify parasitic pressure. When the frequency shield weakens, outside agents can exploit openings and redirect your vital breath into loops that feel urgent but empty. Recognizing these tactics allows recalibration. Withdraw attention from fabricated urgencies, reinforce core nodes, and re-establish the monadic anchor as the primary source of orientation. In daily life, integrate short calibrations. A minute of focused breathing before tasks resets the tunic's edges and restores sovereignty when parasitic pressure spikes. Periodically scan each node with a soft intent, testing for congestion or looseness, then apply a few deliberate breaths to tighten or release as needed. Before resting, perform a longer sweep from root to crown to realign the monadic anchor and seal the frequency shield. Consistency builds resonance. Even small, repeated alignments rebuild the vessel's capacity to hold luminous states. As the tunic strengthens, palpable shifts occur. Gaps in parasitic pressure close, the vital breath moves more freely, and a steady warmth or fine vibration signals increased luminous permeability. Decision-making aligns with the monadic anchor, rather than imposed urgencies, and the frequency shield repels incursions that formerly seemed inevitable. Freedom here is practical. Fewer compromises, clearer thresholds, restored sovereignty over the vessel. This is not instant emancipation. Steady practice is required. Each repetition multiplies resonance until the tunic sustains a higher, consistent field of light. Commit to a simple program and defend it as an essential skill for your existence. Schedule short calibrations. Keep the monadic anchors central in decisions, and treat incursions as temporary data to correct rather than truths to obey. When sharing with others, teach the practical beats, the breath counts, node scans, crown to root sweeps, so the work spreads by competency rather than rumor. Activating the tunic of light is a practical path to sovereignty. Each practitioner reduces collective interference and restores a measure of divine governance. You have carried anxiety and fear like unavoidable companions, searching for protection that feels true. The body of light is not an abstract rumor. It sits to your side in the same space, a structured, energetic presence awaiting recognition. Most people identify only with a single physical vessel, unaware of the latent architecture beside them. Begin by acknowledging the presence without drama. Breathe with intention, feeling the vital breath move through the chest into an imagined space at the right side. This step begins an opening. You must see the deception that kept you separated from that companion. Ancient systems of control thrive on parasitic pressure and interference that latch to your attention and to your patterning, feeding on repeated returns into material cycles. Recognition of this parasitic architecture is clinical and practical. Notice recurring pulls, repeated disorientation, and obligations that erode sovereignty. The monadic anchor inside is the small divine spark that resists those pulls. Attend to it slowly, learn its tone, and refuse to yield it to outside forces. Jesus presented activation to a very few because it requires alignment of inner law and readiness. The method is simple in principle. Bring the monadic anchor into direct resonance with the physical vessel through sustained vital breath and directed attention. You can sit or stand in quiet alignment. Breathe into the right side field where the body of light resides, and let each exhale settle interference. Small pulses of attention on specific heart and throat points will guide the thread that ties the two forms together. Over time, coherence grows. Clearing is a core practice because parasitic pressure clings to habit and story. You use the vital breath to create directional flow. Inhale into the monadic anchor, hold a count, then exhale outward toward the side where interference concentrates, imagining the unwanted density leaving the field. Reinforce each cycle with an inner affirmation of sovereignty, a short phrase that restores authority to the vessel. Repetition is practical. Each cycle loosens attachments, weakens parasitic loops, and makes space so the body of light can draw nearer and interface cleanly. When that space opens, you learn to invite the body of light to fold its structure beside and within the same locality. Use a gentle sequence. Align the monadic anchor, send 3 measured vital breaths into the adjacent field, and extend a soft command that establishes a frequency shield between the two forms. Feel for a subtle shift, a tightening of edge, a slight electrical tone, a new steadiness and presence. Those are markers of connection. Practice dialing that tone up slowly. Abrupt force will trigger defensive interference. Activation changes how the world affects you. It is a practical lever out of repeated return and into greater sovereignty. With a stable frequency shield and a centered monadic anchor, the cycles that once drew energy become less convincing, and structures of power have fewer hooks to grab. Maintain the work, daily brief attunements, checks for parasitic pressure, and reassertions of the personal law anchored in the chest. Expect resistance early on. Offensive interference may intensify before it fades. Hold steady and keep the vessel steady. You live from this reality by bringing the vital breath into decisions, touching the monadic anchor before stepping into any charged space, and testing the boundary of the frequency shield when doubt arises. The practice is not mystical showmanship. It is a disciplined technical skill that protects sovereignty and dissolves recycled obligation. The path is selective because not all sparks will sustain the strain of true activation. Yet the door opens when readiness and intention align. Move with urgency, fidelity, and measured repetition until change becomes durable. You were born into a web of identification that taught you to equate presence with the physical vessel, accepting sensations and impulses as the whole of who you are. That early conditioning hands authority to an internal controller known as the spirit imitator, a parasitic pressure that masks true awareness and poses as your voice. Recognize the pattern. Intrusive thoughts and alien emotions arrive with insistence, claiming ownership. Naming this mechanism clears the first corridor toward reclaiming energy and reorienting the vital breath. When attempts are made to awaken, the spirit imitator intensifies, deploying interference that feels like fear, shame, or apologetic doubt. These are not natural expressions of the monadic anchor. They are signals of parasitic pressure seeking to reclaim agency. You can respond with a simple protocol: pause, allow the onset, and shift attention to the monadic anchor by drawing the vital breath deliberately into the center of the vessel. Observe without joining. Giving attention to the anchor weakens imitation and strengthens sovereignty, a technical realignment rather than wishful thinking. The critical voice is an operator, not the core. When intrusive content arises, name it immediately. Identification, accusation, collapse. Labeling exposes function and separates your monadic anchor from reflexive response. Track its rhythm until familiarity reveals predictable triggers. Then deploy the frequency shield by tightening focus on the center while circling the vital breath with intention, redirecting siphoned energy back into the vessel. This is how sovereignty returns. Small recoveries accumulate, parasitic pressure shrinks, and energetic pathways once blocked begin transmitting light again. Identification with sensations creates a false boundary that narrows awareness and hardens reactive habit. The first rupture occurs when the witness, your monadic anchor, declares non-identification and refuses automatic consent. Practice observational anchoring at set intervals. For a few breaths, scan responses and record whether each impulse aligns with sovereignty or parasitic pressure. Do this repeatedly until the habit of consent loosens. Each refusal returns fragments of energy to the vessel, expanding consciousness incrementally. The process is practical and repeatable, not mystical, and yields measurable change. The body of light activates when the vessel no longer cedes power to imitation, and the monadic anchor sustains steady amplitude. Illumination of the enemy internal collapses its camouflage, allowing recovered energy to fuel luminous processes. To encourage activation, cultivate a steady intake of vital breath directed into the subtle centers while maintaining the frequency shield. Resist narratives that tug attention back into parasitic circuits. Instead, circulate reclaimed energy through intention and measured silence in action. Over time, the luminous field densifies, and presence becomes functionally different in daily life. As energy is reclaimed, reactions to others shift, because the vessel no longer seeks protection through mimicry or collapse. Where fear once governed choices, sovereignty begins to take precedence, and decisions are anchored in the monadic center. Use the frequency shield as a pragmatic boundary. Tighten before entering charged spaces, and release when safety is clear. When parasitic pressure attempts to exploit attachment or expectation, hold the anchor steady and redirect exhalations to reclaim projection. This recalibration produces clearer interactions and reduces the urgency that formerly drove defensive behavior. The practical secret is simple. Recognition precedes transformation. Each morning, establish the monadic anchor with several deliberate vital breaths into the center of the vessel. Set the frequency shield, and name any persistent inner critic. During the day, schedule 3 brief pauses to test responses and reclaim energy from parasitic pressure. Before rest, sweep the field with attention, consolidate recovered fragments, and close with steady breath. Consistency produces measurable unfolding. The imitator loses purchase, the body of light stabilizes, and sovereignty becomes habitual rather than exceptional. You have been taught to seek protection in rituals and breath, yet the true gate opens through radical discernment. This is not a simple exercise. It is a decisive unmasking of the spirit imitator that wears familiarity like armor. When you recognize that part as parasitic pressure, the first wall cracks. Your attention shifts from chasing techniques to removing identification. That removal is the initial activation of the inner luminary, a clean separation that prepares the vessel for deeper energetic elevation. When you begin to observe internal conflicts as attacks from without, perspective shifts and the habitual acceptance of suffering starts to fall away. Position yourself as a monadic anchor, which holds a steady center while discerning movements inside the vessel. Call in a frequency shield to test each impulse. Does it serve sovereignty or amplify parasitic pressure? This practical reframe stops automatic submission. It denormalizes pain, revealing most of what seemed legitimate is an interference script, not an immutable truth, and that revelation loosens its grip. The mental prison is sustained by simple, unchallenged assumptions and a run of fearful narratives that pretend authority. Use discernment like a scalpel. Question the origin of each belief, track who benefits when compliance continues, and expose the imitator's tactics. When you dismantle the lie that protection equals surrender, parasitic pressure loses its fuel. Each uncovered pattern returns power to sovereignty. This work is not abstract. It is methodical and rigorous, rewiring how attention is spent and creating space for actual energetic practices to take hold. Once it becomes clear that difficulties are manipulations, a new strategy emerges. Stop legitimizing every disturbance. Scan impulses for repeated loops and scripted responses. Label them plainly, and refuse engagement. This refusal is not neglect. It recalibrates the vessel by closing doors the imitator used. As manipulations thin, instinctive reactions change into considered responses governed by sovereignty. That change is practical and observable. Decisions no longer come from fear-driven reflexes, but from an anchored clarity that prepares the interior terrain for next-stage energetic work. Recognition is the turning point. It signals readiness for disciplined transformation. Commit to a daily practice of checking allegiance. Ask which impulse carries a foreign signature, and report it to the monadic anchor. Strengthen the frequency shield through breath patterning of the vital breath to stabilize presence. Then escalate with focused energy elevation exercises. These steps are pragmatic. Identify, contain, and reassign energy away from parasitic pressure toward sovereign intention. Over time, this triage short-circuits reactive cycles and establishes the conditions for the light to emerge. With the internal field cleared, begin elevation practices that raise resonance within the vessel. Use the vital breath as a conductor. Inhale deliberately to pull clean charge into the core. Hold briefly as the monadic anchor steadies, then release impurities while reforging the frequency shield. Direct intention like a technical operator, moving charge upward through defined centers until a consistent tone sustains. These exercises are measurable in subtle shifts, clarity of perception, reduction in parasitic pressure, and a feeling of increasing sovereignty that signals the body of light is organizing. Activation is not a single event, but a continuous protocol that begins with discernment and matures through disciplined energetic work. Maintain the habits of naming manipulations, reinforcing the frequency shield, and consulting the monadic anchor before any reactive move. Let sovereignty become the default operating mode, so that old patterns cannot reattach. The secret revealed is simple and practical. Recognize the imitator, refuse its authority, and then apply targeted elevation to instantiate the light. This pathway turns inner conflict into a technical project of liberation. You have been given a shift that changes how you inhabit your body and the world around you. After activation, integration becomes the essential practice that sustains your new frequency. Hold a steady, vital breath and keep the sensation of a golden light within your vessel while allowing external experience to flow through. Operating in two dimensions at once means cultivating both presence in the material and awareness of inner radiance. This balance is the core of a pneumatic existence, a practical way to resist parasitic pressure. When the world pressures you with familiar pulls, that pressure becomes interference meant to destabilize your field. Your task is to build a frequency shield and steady a monadic anchor inside the chest so distraction cannot leach your light. Practical steps include returning to the vital breath whenever notice arises, tightening choices around what feeds the vessel, and repeating quiet commitments that align with sovereignty. These actions form a habitual architecture that sustains the dual attention required to remain luminous while moving among denser influences. Practically, two-dimensional operation means learning to sense two layers at once, inner luminosity and outer stimulus. Practice quick scans that detect when parasitic pressure edges close, then contract attention inward to reinforce the golden core. Name the interference, do not argue with it, and enact simple resets, 3 deliberate vital breaths, a tightening of the frequency shield, a posture that signals sovereignty. Over time, these micro resets shorten the lag between perception and response, allowing decisions to arise from the monadic anchor rather than from reflexive reactivity. Each action becomes an act of manifestation for the body of light when choices consistently favor inner alignment. Withdraw consent from old patterns by refusing to feed them with attention, time, or emotional currency. Create clear boundaries in daily routines. Use fewer engagements that drain. Select words that preserve presence, and perform small labor tasks with the golden sensation active. These methods thin the visibility to archontic forces seeking control. Invisibility is not escape but sovereignty, enacted through disciplined withholding of energy. Freedom from past conditioning arrives through incremental integration rather than violent rupture. Use controlled exposure. Re-enter memory threads briefly while holding the monadic anchor, and a neutral witness posture, observing without supplying narrative fuel. Breathe into the vessel. Allow sensations to clarify into data, then reframe those data as historical information, not current governance. Repeat this sequence until attachments loosen. This technical approach converts old knots into resolved files and returns autonomy to the sovereign center, rebuilding trust in personal energetic boundaries. Being a pneumatic traveler requires integrating presence with engagement, so relationships and work become training grounds, not traps. Practice clear calibration. Before entering any interaction, set the frequency shield and affirm sovereignty in a few vital breaths. Share minimal disclosures that preserve the vessel and test others' resonance slowly. Choose projects that echo inner commands, not external applause. Regularly return to the monadic anchor after exchanges, cataloging what drained versus what nourished. Over time, this cultivates a map of reliable contact points and sustainable influence. The practical secret distilled is not a lofty doctrine, but a daily engineering of attention. Hold the golden light while acting in the world, maintain the frequency shield, and return often to the monadic anchor. When interference appears, apply brief resets, withhold consent, and treat parasitic pressure as a technical anomaly to be corrected. Over months, these techniques reconfigure how choices are made, shifting momentum towards sovereignty. Keep steady, measure results by fewer compromises, and let the habitual skill of dual operation become the standard mode of living. You stand at a threshold where daily anxieties and an ever-present fear seek to pull you back into old cycles. You have felt the tug of parasitic pressure that wants to keep you small, the interference that blurs your clarity. The 7-day protocol offers a practical method to build a frequency shield and reclaim sovereignty for your vessel. Each day, a small intentional act with your vital breath will begin to repattern the internal currents, giving your monadic anchor a firmer hold. When you lie down, the boundaries between worlds thin and the mind's guards relax, creating a channel where subtle instruction moves easily into the deep layers of your being. You will use your vital breath as a tuning tool, breathing into the edges of your vessel so that a glowing pattern can be impressed on your inner circuitry. This practice during those liminal hours trains your monadic anchor to resist archontes and reduces parasitic pressure. Nightly repetition hardens the pattern, making the frequency shield less reactive and more sovereign. Begin each evening with a short ritual of 7 mindful breaths, timed to the rhythm of your heart. Sit or lie comfortably and inhale slowly, feeling the vital breath travel down into the core of your vessel. Then exhale while imagining a fine lattice of light anchoring at your solar center and spine. With each breath, sense that lattice thickening, aligning with your monadic anchor. Spend only 10 minutes. Consistency matters more than duration. Close by, willing a frequency shield to remain as you enter the dreaming threshold. Across the 7 days, the work is cumulative and deliberate. Day 1 secures the core monadic anchor. Day 2 spreads the lattice into the emotional chamber. Day 3 extends it toward the upper gateway above the head. Each subsequent day fills gaps where interference holds sway, targeting areas of parasitic pressure until the lattice feels whole. You do not rush expansion, you consolidate. By day 7, your vessel carries a coherent structure that survives ordinary shocks and sustains the frequency shield, even between sleeps and waking moments. This practice is not mere ritual, it is a technology of sovereignty. As the frequency shield strengthens, archontes find fewer footholds, and parasitic pressure loses leverage over habit and longing. The anchored lattice becomes a bridge for the monad, ensuring continuity beyond the known lifespan, and altering how your presence navigates what comes after death. You will notice choices feel less reactive and more measured, not because of willpower, but because the vessel itself has been rewired to hold light, making resistance to interference automatic rather than effortful. Doubt will arrive as interference attempting to convince you the change is accidental or temporary. Expect interruptions. The work is simple but persistent. If a night is missed, resume without apology and reinforce the lattice with 3 deep, deliberate vital breaths at midday and again before rest. Carry a brief monadic affirmation as a hum against parasitic pressure, a single intention to keep the frequency shield intact. Small, consistent acts accumulate and form a new baseline for the vessel, tilting your life toward enduring sovereignty. This 7-day commitment will change the trajectory of your presence if met with honest attendance. It is not grandiose, it is surgical and slow, building an energetic vehicle that can carry attention beyond frequent cycles of return. Your monadic anchor will learn to hold steady, the frequency shield will become habitual, and archontes will find departure increasingly costly. Choose this discipline today, because continuity is the secret to permanence. Your vessel will remember the pattern, and that memory will follow beyond any single lifetime. You are in the middle of a shift many cannot name, and your body and awareness are registering it as altered sleep states, lucid dreams, and faster patterns of synchronicity. These are not random oddities but clear markers that your inner work has shifted frequency. The vital breath feels different. The vessel responds differently. Fear and uncertainty may rise now, and the search for protection is natural. Learn to treat this as evidence of growth, a recalibration toward a more refined, sovereign state. When lucid dreams sharpen and coincidence accelerates, your attention is being drawn to subtler thresholds where choices reconfigure reality. You can use that attention as a tool, steady the vital breath, return to the monadic anchor, and let the field around you settle. The frequency shield is not fancy jargon. It is a practiced boundary that keeps parasitic pressure from slipping into your patterns. Practice holding clear intention, small actions that reinforce sovereignty, and observe how synchronicity begins to align with purpose instead of scattering energy. You will feel physical shifts as the vessel adapts. Tremors, shifts in appetite, heightened sensitivity to light and sound, moments of fatigue followed by surges. These are the channels, retuning the vital breath, redistributing currents so awareness can occupy thinner realities. Protect those channels by limiting exposure to low-frequency interference, by resting when the body signals reconfiguration, and by practicing simple exercises that move energy through the spine and limbs. Honor the pace. Forced acceleration invites more interference and weakens the frequency shield. Resistance will arrive from outside and within, a pattern of voices, circumstances, and sudden breakdowns that attempt to draw you back into denser loops. These are archons testing the integrity of the new variable you introduced into the system. They will press with parasitic pressure and magnify doubt. Your response must be centered and practical. Reaffirm the monadic anchor, tighten the frequency shield, and avoid offering emotional fuel to the interference. Stay clear about boundaries and refuse reruns of old agreements that trade sovereignty for comfort. The practical secret is a daily protocol built of 3 simple motions: breathe to settle current, ground into the monadic anchor, and expand the frequency shield outward. Sit or stand with intention. Draw the vital breath in long and even cycles. Feel the anchor secure beneath your core. Then project a deliberate boundary that does not cut but clarifies what will pass. 10 minutes of this practice twice daily alters baseline resonance. Track subtle changes. More lucidity in dreams, fewer invasive interruptions, and let evidence guide persistence. Integration requires patient tenacity. The disruption that follows activation is temporary but real, a sign the system recognizes the new equation and fights to restore old patterns. Each small refusal of fear-driven habit strengthens sovereignty and makes the frequency shield more resilient. Use dream encounters as data points. When a recurring symbol appears, take note of how it changes after holding your anchor. Share practice with other anchored vessels when alignment is clear, and avoid forums that amplify parasitic narratives until stability is restored. What matters most is not fast results, but steady cultivation of inner sovereignty, and the ability to live from a monadic anchor while the world tests that stance. Keep the vital breath central to every recalibration. Let the frequency shield be a daily habit rather than panic, and treat synchronicity as confirmation of alignment rather than ego reward. Remember that resistance proves a new variable changed the system. Remain firm, keep simple practices consistent, and allow your life to reorganize around higher, more sustainable frequencies. You have felt the tightness of nights, when fear whispers that protection must come from outside, when the promise of someone or something else seems like the only exit. That feeling is common, born of interference and parasitic pressure seeking to keep you dependent. The secret being revealed now is plain. Salvation resides inside your vessel. Reclaiming sovereignty begins with recognizing that external figures and dogmas cannot unlock your monadic anchor. The first shift is a decision to direct your vital breath inward, guided by ancient Gnostic knowledge. Activation of the body of light begins with simple, repeatable procedures that fit into real days. Start by anchoring attention in the chest and crown while breathing steady, vital breath cycles. This trains the vessel to accept higher frequency. As the breath steadies, sense a subtle warmth or tone that rises. This is the first attunement of the monadic anchor. From there, shape a frequency shield by directing intention through the crown to the perimeter of your field. Consistency over days strengthens resonance and reduces parasitic pressure. Chains of repetitive return are not mystical fate but energetic habits maintained by external control and complacent belief. Activating the body of light interrupts those loops because it raises your frequency beyond the reach of archontic control that feeds on dense attachments. Practically, that means refusing agreements made unconsciously, withdrawing consent from patterns that demand reincarnation as payment. Claiming sovereignty requires changing behaviors that reinforce the loop. Stop feeding parasitic pressure with fear-based choices. Preserve your vital breath as a steady fuel for ascent. You are not a prisoner. Identity is a contract that can be cancelled. Recognize the role of the vessel as temporary theater and the monad as the traveler unchanged by seasons. Memory of origin lives in the subtle field and can be recovered through disciplined attention and repeated attunement. To ignite your vehicle of light, remove layers of borrowed identity. Stop identifying with fear narratives. Name them and let them fall away. Each deliberate breath that reconnects chest, heart, and crown strengthens the monadic anchor and clarifies direction home. Knowing without action leaves the monadic anchor idle and allows interference back in. Practical action is small and specific. Daily vital breath cycles, morning attuning of the frequency shield, and simple boundary protocols in interactions that bleed your field. When facing fear or parasitic pressure, name the type of interference and tighten the shield, withdrawing consent to old scripts. Over time, these acts accumulate into an energetic memory that rewrites habit. Acting secures return to heritage and ensures the vessel can travel without being pulled into the repetition. Make a clear daily sequence. A few minutes of focused vital breath to center the monadic anchor. A short attunement to the body of light to feel rising frequency. And then a sweep to set the frequency shield around the perimeter of the field. Keep it concise so it becomes habitual. 5 to 10 steady cycles are sufficient to begin. Signs of progress are quieter parasitic pressure, clearer intuition from the monad, and an ease of refusal when old agreements appear. When those signs appear, deepen practice. Doubts will arrive as negotiation from the familiar, and institutions will offer trade-offs to keep you small. Recognize those offers as attempts to reassert archontic control. They look protective but require surrender. Maintain a firm boundary by refusing any exchange that demands loss of intentionality or vital breath. In relationships, state your limits and use the frequency shield consistently. Allow only aligned vessels into shared spaces. This clarity preserves sovereignty and prevents slow erosion. Your place in existence is reclaimed through steady, uncompromising practice. This night offers a practical doorway. Perform the attunement sequence, tighten your frequency shield, and declare internally that consent for old patterns has ended. Use 3 steady vital breath cycles to awaken the monadic anchor. Then sweep the field and feel the vehicle of light respond. These acts are small, but definitive. They alter trajectory by creating a new energetic baseline. Continue each night, and in moments of pressure, return to the breath. The deeper secret is simple. Your return is a practiced alignment, not a distant promise. You now hold within your grasp the core revelation, the 3 powerful tools that activate your body of light, tools that allow you to enforce your own sovereignty. The interference that once claimed rights over your energy no longer holds power against you. The tools are in your hands. The interference no longer has a legal claim to your energy. Subscribe to the Unwritten Word to ensure you continue to receive these suppressed records. Here we do not interpret the Word. Here we expose what was hidden. This is the Unwritten Word. Your journey of discovery does not end here. It continues immediately. A related record is available now for continued observation. Proceed.